Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Leo's Harmony, and I had a really interesting idea that I want to try out. So, um, I wanted to do a reading in like the theme of like Game of Thrones. So the way I'm kind of like doing this, I'm just pulling decks that I think would kind of relate to Game of Thrones and kind of go from there. So I'm gonna explain like how I'm gonna do that here. So I got this a mushroom tarot deck, and I think that kind of relates to like the environment that they're in a lot, where it's like really nature based. Um, Archetypes, every story has an archetype, and I feel like that would pretty much fit into this reading, so I'll do that as well. Um, so Bran, you know, I guess you can kind of consider him like a shaman or an oracle. So I got these two to kind of relate to him. I got the Voice of Souls to kind of relate to like the White Walkers and like how they're kind of undead. So there's that. We need a little bit of Likiri in here. So we're gonna get some dragons, and this is kind of cheating. But I'm using this dragonfly deck as a dragon deck as well. So that's what I'm gonna do. I hope you like it. Um, get ready to pick a pile, and we're about to start. Okay, since we're doing this here, we're gonna start off with archetypes, and that'll determine like your overall message. Since I don't want to get sued, I'll just hum a little bit of the song. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. Okay, so now go ahead and pick your pile, and we'll get started. Okay, pile one, you got the crone, which is very interesting. I think that relates really well. I'm gonna read from the guidebook here because I'm sure there's a message. It says the crone has seen it all. Nothing frightens or surprises her. She is the final manifestation in the feminine trifecta of maiden, mother, crone. In her long life, she's witnessed endless cycles of death, sex, failure, rebirth, conflict, and regeneration, giving her the ability to rise above the world of duality. She laughs at notions of good or bad, right or wrong, as she has seen the earth churning, smoldering, taking life and giving life. The crone energy accepts everything in, devouring beauty and suffering with the same mouth, using their energy to reveal hidden secrets and knowledge. Her energy resides in all of us, though it is feared by most for its power and unconventional relationship with death and the macabre. Awakening the crone is dangerously rich and unapologetically magic. So when it's in the light, a couple keywords here are magic, clairvoyant, psychic, intuitive, and wise. But when it's kind of like in reverse, it talks about being vindictive, bitter, isolated, and ostracized. So this is either good or bad depending on what happens here. Let's pull some oracle cards. Let's start off with the shaman. So you got the tree of life. Let me pull more oracle cards to give us more information. You got genetic eyeliner. It says fearless, courage, inner strength, and incentive. and pull from a different deck. It says message of forgiveness. So for some of you, it's kind of like maybe you have to forgive someone else instead of, something negative here with the crone. The tree of life is also a tree of like knowledge. Um, so this could also be like you kind of know that you have to kind of forgive. Maybe you're also going to receive a message of forgiveness. So it really depends here on how that kind of goes down. But the crone is also the ending to maiden, mother, and crone. It's someone like who finished a cycle, right? But it also talks about intuition there. So it's kind of like you have to use your intuition if there's like a message of forgiveness for you or for another person, depending on how that kind of goes for you. I'm going to move these cards a bit and then pull the tarot cards. And I'll be right back. Okay, pile one, you got the Nine of Pentacles, the Page of Swords, Five of Swords, Two of Swords, and King of Cups. So starting off with the Nine of Pentacles, it's kind of like you are, it's like someone who's very satisfied materially, right? And spiritually. Page of Swords is someone who kind of wants to learn something new about, uh, like a mental type of thing. Five of Swords and Two of Swords are very negative cards. They're kind of, dealing with like conflict and like not really seeing eye to eye with someone, or maybe even losing something. And then King of Cups is someone who's very in tune with their emotions and very much that leader in emotions that like you don't really question them at all. So since forgiveness kind of came out, it's kind of like um you have everything, but there's a way for you to have more. Like you're here, like you're fine materially, but you're not fine emotionally. Like there's a lot going on there. So with the Page of Swords, it's kind of like you're learning something um, on like how to deal like with your mind and this conflict here. So maybe it is about forgiving someone else, or maybe even forgiving yourself for something. So there is a need for you to kind of work on that, and that'll pretty much help you achieve like this ending of like the King of Cups. Um, with fearless and courage and inner strength, it's kind of like you have to muster up this courage to kind of like do this. With the crone, it's pretty much saying like you have the intuition for it, but this is like a type of ending, and I feel like you have the knowledge with the tree of life there. So it's kind of like you kind of know what to do. It's just, here for you to kind of start. And I think that's, a really good thing for you. Because you kind of like have what you need materially, but it's like you have this little thing here. Maybe it's not little for you, maybe it is big, but that's, also okay. Um, you don't have to change overnight, you don't have to forgive overnight, but it is important for you to forgive, for you to achieve, like this emotional peace as well. Like maybe you're just not happy emotionally, and your guides kind of want you to work on that. And the reason for that is because of this. Like there is a need to forgive something. This is like conflict here. This is something that's not really good for you. So there's something that you need to forgive, and that's what your guides are saying. Let me pull from another deck to give us a few closing cards. From the dragon deck, you got vision and contemplating the future. So it's kind of like you're in this internal battle between like what you want from the future. Maybe you're deciding between, uh, you know, forgive and like keep this here or forgive and let this go. And that's maybe for some of you, not for all of you. Um, but I think your guides are saying like you kind of know. Like don't try to, you know, decide because you already know the answer to that. And it just kind of takes courage to do that. But let me pull a few more closing cards here. This one says transform. It says emerge with beauty and grace from your cocoon. So maybe for some of you, even, it's not about letting this go or keeping it. It's more about you, yourself changing instead of like this situation here. Another one says origins, remember your roots. So it's funny how you got something to kind of change here, but you also got remember your roots. For some of you, this can be about how you changed into like a person that you're not meant to be, and you kind of have to go back to that person that you were before that was happier, that was more in tune with their emotions and their spirituality. For those that have to let go of something, this can be remembering and like kind of looking at the past as a way to let go, to transform, right? So you're looking at memories, you're looking at things that don't serve your highest purpose, and that's fine. So it really depends on how you're seeing that here. Then you got wish. It says make a wish with a dandelion in the wind. So this kind of like goes with this card here. Actually, it's kind of funny because here origins is the beginning. This is kind of like the middle, and this is kind of like the end here. Or, you know, these two can be switched as well. But it's kind of like Mother, Maiden, and Crone as well. So it's kind of like make sure you make the right decision. You know what the right decision is, and you know how to do it. It's just about you having fear with it and not having the courage and inner strength to do it. But there is a message of forgiveness for yourself or for someone else or for a situation. And they kind of let that go and move forward instead of like dwelling on it for months or years or whatever. But that is your reading pile one. I hope you liked it. I hope this theme was kind of fun. Um, if you did like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you have any suggestions, leave them in the comments. But if you would like a personalized reading, my Etsy is linked down below. But thank you for watching. Hello, Pile 2, welcome to your reading. You got the seed. And I wanted to read a bit from the guidebook for this card, and then we can get started with your reading. So, it says, beginnings come in many forms. They are not always a beautiful seed placed intentionally in nourishing soil. Origin stories, like any birth story, are complex, surprising, multi-layered, and usually reveal a central image or detail that represents the fully formed being. Simply stated, the the end is present in the beginning, where the entire oak tree resides within the acorn. Whether you follow this imageal theory or not, know that when this card appears, there is a potent generative energy all around. It stirs your very insides and usually results in an angsty, impatient feeling. Pay particular attention to what agitates you, as it is a sure sign of growth to come. You For bumping up against a growth edge, it is from the grit that the pearl eventually comes to be. So, a couple keywords here. When it's like a good card, it talks about generative, fertile, germinating, and building. When it's like in reverse, it talks about festering, stewing, and dormant. Okay, let's pull a few cards from a different deck, and then we can get more information. You got the card that says the sacrifice. Let me get more from other decks. You got message to pass on. Let's get one more from a different deck. You got TikTok. It says expectation, acceleration of time, and finish line. So it's interesting how you got, this card of like growth, but then you got a card of sacrifice and a message to pass on, and one that kind of says the ending, right? So a sacrifice in like, ancient times was where you kind of like had to let go of something precious, right? To kind of receive something that you want. And sometimes that would be like animals, and you'd pray to like a deity for that. Um, so it's kind of like how you have to let go of something in order to grow. This can be like this can be a past version of yourself that doesn't serve your highest purpose anymore. And I think that's what this is really talking about. I don't think this is like about a person at all. Um, it's kind of like saying pass on as well. So this can be interpreted as, you're giving a message to someone else. But I think for you in this reading, it's more about like your guides are telling you to like kind of move on. And with TikTok, it's kind of like you're avoiding it, and you shouldn't. But let me pull some tarot cards and I'll be right back. Okay, pile two. So you got the Seven of Pentacles, the Four of Swords, Nine of Pentacles, King of Cups, and Five of Pentacles. So for you, the Seven of Pentacles can talk about like letting, or sorry, not letting go, but remembering the past and like kind of going through those memories. Four of Swords can be a time of like healing and change. Nine of Pentacles is someone who like kind of appreciates what they have and they have everything that they want. King of Cups, someone who's like very much in tune with their emotions, right? Then Five of Pentacles can be a bad card that talks about how you don't feel seen, or you're not very happy in like your current state. But this is more of like a blockage here for you. I think this is relating to this card about TikTok. So it's kind of like you need to let go of your old self. And this even talks about the past here, so it's kind of funny how it's kind of, in the same order. So look at your past and kind of heal it. Let go of what you need to, because there's so much for you here. And, you know, make sure that you don't wait too long, because that will actually prevent you from feeling very happy. And in fact, I think it'll hurt you. I think you might miss something if you wait too long. You're gonna miss something that I think your guides are trying to give you. Because you're stuck in this, time of like repeating the cycle of like not wanting to change, even though you should. So that's your overall message here. Um, and I think that's really clear because, these cards aren't really giving more information. They're just pretty much saying, yeah, the same thing here, same thing here. And so it's like a double reminder, which puts more emphasis on the message itself and how important it is for you to change. So you need to grow, be a better version of yourself so that you can receive what you want from life. Because if not, you're going to lose a lot. And that's not, something that you want for sure. Let's get a few closing cards here. This one just fell out. It says protection, finding what's important. So you're protecting your past too much and not protecting your future, you know? Like you're putting the shield in your past and not wanting to let it go. And you're not protecting your future by doing the right stuff that you're supposed to here. It's, like you're hurting yourself. You're finding out that the past doesn't really matter, even though you do feel like it is. And it's actually hurting you in a way to not let that go. It's more damaging to your future for you not to protect it and care for it by doing the changes now. And that's what this card is trying to tell you. Yep, you got one immediately. It says risk. Learn to grow wherever you are planted. So, I mean, you know how the guides like to leave a really clear message in my readings, but here it is again. So, grow. It doesn't matter what you feel right now, it doesn't matter what you think you're doing in life. You need to grow. And you need to let go of this past and you need to grow and be a better version of yourself, or you're going to lose your future that you want. Humility. It says flowers are unaware of each other's beauty. They bloom regardless. So it's like you don't know how much strength you have, how beautiful you are, or how much of a good person you are. And I feel like you put yourself in this mentality of like, I don't really deserve this because of your past. And it's like not good at all. Like your guides want you to change that. They want you to heal from that. Like think about the past and think about like if another friend was doing what you were doing, would you be like, are you kind of dumb? Like why are you thinking that way, right? Like it's not nice, but like I feel like your guides are not being nice because you are being dumb. You need to let go because you're preventing so much from happening in your future. Like all these really good stuff. You actually got two. You got one that says trust. The robin trusts her wings, not the branch she sits on. Another says uncertainty. It says the shades of gray within the fog eventually lift. So, I mean, these are really clear. There's something about you not trusting where you are right now in life. This can be like your where you're living or who you're with or something like that. And I feel like the past is affecting that. Learn to grow where you're planted. It says the robin trusts her wings, not the branch that she sits on. So there's a need for you to kind of like trust the process, trust that everything's working out, trust that you letting go of this past is not something that's going to hurt you. And there's so much that you need to learn with that. And there's so much that your guides are trying to give you that you're not accepting because of that. They're saying that eventually, all of this negativity will lift. And I feel like, this is a lot about you with this humility card. About how you don't really see yourself as this person that's like very good in whatever sense that is. That's beauty, that's emotions, that's personality, that's whatever. And you need to let that go. You need to grow and be the best version of yourself you can be. Because how else are you going to show people that doubted you, like I did it, right? Because you deserve that. But that is it for your reading pile, too. I hope that this message found you well. And, if you did like this video, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Um, if you would like a personalized reading, my Etsy is linked down below. But thank you for watching. Okay, pile 3, welcome to your reading. So you got the mentor. You also got an L there, which is very, in brand. I wanted to read from the guidebook. So let me do that. It says, it is said that cosmic knowledge pours down on the world like a great illuminated waterfall. This can be an overwhelming force. The true teacher, though, is said to be able to hold this flow of wisdom at bay while the student sips from a focused stream. The mentor, archetyped as a gift for reading the room or sensing the exact ingredient that will stimulate growth within the student, whether pleasant or painful. The mentor may appear aloof or available, harsh or tender, humorous or rigid. Their gift is to know what serves the soul. Ultimately, the mentor is in service of the greater cosmic good and aids in the elevation of consciousness. Anytime the mentor forgets the humble link and mistakes themselves for the source of enlightenment, the archetype falls into shadow. So when this is upright, it says focused, clear, bright, and remains a student. When it's in reverse, it talks about self-serving, envious of youth, righteous, and rigid. Let me pull some oracle cards to give us more information about this. You got the medicine wheel. Let me get a few more from different decks and I'll get started. You got guide. Let me do one more. You got I am impulsive with competition, take the risk, and hasty action. So it's kind of like, I think you're missing the message your guides are giving you. I think, like, you know what your guides are trying to tell you, but they're like, that's not quite right. And it's kind of like you're in this, you know, mind of like being the mentor, like being like really enlightened when you're not there yet. And I feel like for some of you, if you notice here, um, I think it's a cheetah, but there's, or maybe there's two different animals. I don't know. But I think it is the same one. But I think there's two cheetahs there, and that could be like an animal spirit guide for some of you. Um, there's birds here as well, so that can be another. But it's kind of like you have to learn how to like read the message more before you kind of like go with a plan. Maybe you're just not communicating with your guides enough, because if you did, you would not have this issue at all. Like, ask your guides, is this what you mean? Is that right? Okay, like, what should I do from here? You know, from here on out. And how do I change this? And things like that. Like, you really need to be asking your guides how you should proceed before thinking that you know the answer. But let me pull some tarot cards and I'll be right back. Okay, pile three. So you got the Seven of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, the Two of Pentacles, Nine of Cups, Five of Cups, and Six of Cups. So, I'm not gonna lie, your reading is a little bit all over the place. With the Seven of Swords, this can be about with you like deceiving or not really appreciating something. With the Nine of Pentacles, it's like you working really hard for something, right? But then the Two of Pentacles can be about balance and like learning how to balance something. Nine of Cups, someone that kind of has everything, is really celebrated and appreciated. And then the Five of Cups can talk about how you're not really happy. You're kind of, you know, in like this state that you're not meant to be in. And then Six of Cups is kind of like how you can think about the past a lot and you're kind of, it can be about inner child stuff as well. So it's kind of like these decisions that you're making for yourself are not serving your highest purpose. In fact, they're kind of betraying you in a way. So Seven of Swords and Five of Cups can be about betrayal as well. It's funny because it's with the Two of Pentacles in the middle, it's kind of like on the left you have cards that kind of talk about how you know, well, on both sides there's cards about betrayal actually. And they're kind of like in these spaces, right? Even though there are good cards on each side, like the Knight of Pentacles or the Nine of Cups and the Six of Cups. But it's kind of like you need to be careful because your emotions are one thing and then your material stuff are another. You see how they're kind of separated here? Like these are all cups. These are everything else, right? So it's kind of like, I don't know, like you're making really weird decisions and you're not taking the time to kind of think things through. And I don't think, regardless of whether you make the right or wrong decision here, it's still going to hurt you because you're not waiting and taking the time to do it properly. And I think that's what your guides are kind of telling you. Like, yeah, there's good cards here, but then there's like, ooh. Or yeah, there's a good card here, but that's like, oof. You know? Like, I don't know. Either way, it's not that great, which isn't a good thing at all. And your guides are like really being loud about that. But let me pull from an Oracle deck. You got trust. It says love and friendship. Maybe you're not putting faith in the people around you to help you. You could also be like not trusting your guides when you need to. Um, so take that however it kind of resonates for you. But I think the main thing here is to wait, to not be so impulsive. That's like hurting you in so many ways. And oh, interesting that this person is kind of like holding two hands up and they're both kind of shooting things out like magic in some sense. And you got the Two of Pentacles here, which is like two different ways to do stuff. And learning how to balance that. But I think what you're missing here is the fact that you're not waiting and knowing like the complete story before proceeding with like a plan. I don't think you're trusting your guides enough like you should be doing. It's kind of like, this is a better way to do it. I'm going to do it my way. And your guides are like, huh? Like, that's going to be worse for you, right? And you're like, oh, it's okay. My way is better. And that is not helping you at all. Like, you should really take the time to at least meditate on it, Connect with your guides, communicate with them, ask them, like, is this right or wrong? Like, how should I do this? Rather than thinking you know the answers. The mentor here talks about in like the light that it was like a good thing, but in the darkness or like in reverse, it talked about how you think you know the answers when you don't. And it's pretty much that's how the reading is going here. With the medicine wheel, I think it's more emphasizing the fact that, well, the wheel in tarot, funny enough, can be a cycle. It doesn't necessarily have to be a positive cycle. This can be a negative thing, and for you, it definitely is a negative thing. And it's a cycle that you have to break, but the medicine wheel itself is like a good thing, right? So, again, balance is coming up again with that. How you kind of know what you need to do, but you're not doing it. Like, you shouldn't be impulsive, you shouldn't make those decisions, and you're hurting yourself by making them. But I think it involves you not trusting your guides. You need to work on your spirituality. That's what you're not really doing. It's kind of like you're taking it and using it as a tool to get, like what you want out of it, but you're not really appreciating it or taking the time to do things that your guides want to do. And that's what you should really be focusing on. Let's pull some cards here. You got forbearance. It says, do not be deterred by the thorn amidst the roses. For some of you, it might be like a pain thing that you don't want to deal with, and that can be trauma. I feel like your guides are taking you down a path that you don't want to go down because of your past, or your pain, or trauma, or whatever, right? Or your fear. And you're like, no, I want to do it my way, and that's hurting you. You got joy. It says, spread seeds of joy like a wildflower, and no doubt you will revel in the result. Sorry. So again, it's like you're acting from a place of negativity rather than a place of light. Because even though, negativity doesn't have to necessarily be evil or like something with bad intentions, it could also be a place of fear or a place of like pain. Because it's not serving your highest purpose, it's just making you more anxious, it's making you doubtful, not being able to trust, and it's not helping you. It says friends. The most unlikely friendships can form. Like variegated lichens on hard rock, they create a tight bond. Friendship came up twice. Maybe you're avoiding something, like a connection, and it can be like a really good friendship, but you're kind of self-sabotaging that. But for others, it's about your guides, and you're not really being friends with your guides. You're kind of like avoiding them in a way. And that's hurting you because they're here to guide you, to help you, so you can achieve what you want from life. That's not helping you at all, right? So act from a place of love, of light, and you'll pretty much have a much better time in life. Be patient, communicate with your guides, ask them what they want you to do. Because it'll be much better that way than thinking that you know the answers. But that is it for your reading, Pile 3. Thank you for watching. If you did like it, make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. If you have any suggestions, make sure to leave them in the comments. If you would like a personalized reading, that's in my Etsy link down below. But thank you for watching.